Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to good old Herlefeld, made by SourceWorks and Desperados93. Well, I've done a bunch of work off cam, have taken care of all the cutting of the grass, all the windrowing, tried to get it all done on all the fields that you see that are green in here, wherever the little grasses grow, tried to take care of it all. And through the time, the rain has quit, and I think the last thing I did was to purchase a disc. And unfortunately, the mod just wasn't quite complete. That's probably the best I can say. I've removed it from the mods folder. It just didn't cooperate, and by cooperate I mean some basic things like raising and lowering this one here. The folding parts, didn't seem to work properly, and maybe I could have figured out how to change it. I don't know. But sometimes I don't have the energy to take on every problem. So, I just let it be. Where I brought this tractor back over to the store, I'm going to be getting a plow because I think we need to start doing something with our fields. But first, I believe I should go to, let's see, it would be 8. I have a feeling we are going to be empty. Oh, yeah, I probably should have fed it some more in the middle of the night. This is... I really haven't monkeyed with the scripts, how quick it goes, so I'm just kind of, taking it as it's designed, but I'm really thinking of trying to speed it up. I don't know. That's something else I need to change. I'd really like to know how much material is still, within the bunker, because it seems like I've been working on this for quite a while now, and it's hard to tell just what I'm making from it. What I do know, and maybe I started with the cows kind of at an inopportune time. Shoot, I can't even drive this thing. I had a ton of milk. Actually, did it sell it all? Let me just check. Milk. Where? Oh, here we go. Yeah, I think it was several 100,000 liters, right? So, yeah, whatever it had, it definitely sold, and you can see how much cash I have. I mean, $500,000. What I don't know is how much of the $500,000 is from the BGA. I know there's a little bit of earning here too, and what I don't know is just, I don't know how to compute it, so I'm assuming most of it came from the cows, but I don't know what else to do here but to keep feeding this. And really what I've noticed, in having this going a couple days, is it's pretty easy to keep it fed with just lone single loader that I have. I initially was thinking, yes, now it's full, and I've learned the hard way. I would just leave, my bucket kind of over the top here, but what I've discovered is, in Farm Sim 11, when you leave the game, it detaches everything before saving. And then, of course, I have a mod that, upon the starting of the game, reattaches everything. Well, if I leave the bucket over here, kind of hanging over, because there's still 373 liters in there, if I forget and I leave it hanging over there, well, then when I save the game and reload, now my bucket is down in the bowels of this thing, and I have a fuss, getting it out. So, anywho, like I say, I learned that the hard way. So I think I'm just going to park it kind of here, take care of it there. Now, let me see. Do my animals have sufficient food? Yeah, see, I really need to get a planting some corn. In this version of Farm Sim, I don't think animals literally die, if you don't have material for them to eat, so I'm not too worried. We're eventually probably today going to run out of corn silage, and until, I need some time to grow some more. That's why I need to get the fields plowed. But we got plenty of grass. Probably what'll end up happening is it'll just slow the milk production down a little. I'd have to study the Lua code, to see just what it does. But when I see what I made in a single day with I got 8 cows and just 8 of them. And they made me $500,000. So I already have more money than I know what to do with. So, but anyhow, that is that. And let me see, where is my wagon? Is it number 6? Nope. Oh, you know what it is? Okay, hold on a sec, folks. I'm gonna take this. Trying to remember where I left. All right, let me get my whirligigs going. Here we go. Trying to remember where I left the forage wagon in the fields. I think I can find it because I took the other tractor over to purchase a plow or cultivator, I guess. And I've never been good at the plow per se. I guess I did a fair bit of it in Farm Sim 15. There was someone I shared a server with for a while, and we did a lot of plowing in there. And I guess it was American style plow because we had plenty of space to turn around, and the whole goal of using the plows was to create new fields. And in here now we have tighter spaces, and I'm just not sure. Oop. Here we go. Do we have any material in there? Nope, we don't. So maybe what I'll do just to make sure we have, actually, you know what, I'm probably, there we go. Probably not going to be able to fill it during this time, so I'll just do a little bit here. What I am noticing is, after all the rain, maybe a part of me would say the storyline would be that the grass is growing and flourishing, but in reality, as we all know, this is just, we fast forwarded time. It's been a little, yikes. I guess it didn't like the speed I was going. Let's pick it up as I go backwards. And the grass is regrowing, so in a little bit, probably be a little bit harder to see all the windrows, but they're all still hiding there so we can pick them up. I'll maybe just finish this round and leave it parked because I really want to figure out some things on the plows. And as I was starting to say, the regular moldboard plow, it's cumbersome for me to do. I know some people really enjoy the act of plowing, and for me, I prefer cultivating so many times because it's square shaped and it's easier for me to maneuver and kind of all that. So I don't I know there's traditional plows I could pick from in here, but I kind of went on the hunt for a mod that would have not the traditional moldboard plow, but one that looked more like a ripper, or maybe we would call it a subsoiler, or even a chisel plow. I'm not sure what all names the farmers have for them, where there's big shanks on it, and it performs not a similar function to the plow, but it goes at least as deep as a plow, maybe many times deeper. I know the subsoilers will in particular go pretty low. But I know in the area where I live, it's pretty common they use those big shanks, to rip the ground up to get rid of a hard pan, many years of compaction. If there is any of that in the soil, they want to get underneath it and kind of disturb it, rip it up, so they can put something new in it. Because a hard pan can prevent other plants, from growing and penetrating through it. So, interestingly, the area where I am, I worked on the Lone Oak Farm, grass seed farm back in the day. I remember my grandfather had a moldboard plow, but I don't know that I ever saw him use it. I saw more common was the chisel plow, pulled out in the fields. I don't think he used a subsoiler either. The chisel was sufficient to, rip up the field, get rid of the hard pan and that kind of thing. He would use a disc plow. I guess that's another sort of plow, if you will, with smaller, that don't have the moldboard on there. So, I remember many, many hours back in the day in a tractor pulling a disc over the ground, trying to chop it up, the heavy sod or the grass seed fields and whatnot. But anyway, I was looking for these kinds of mods, and I think I've mentioned before, it is getting harder and harder to locate mods for FarmSim 11, even though there are still a few folks, messing with them. There's really only a handful of sites, anymore where you can pick these up. And one of them, of course, I mentioned before, is Mod Hoster. Another is kind of a group, that's dedicated to the older versions of FarmSim. I don't remember the full name of it. I think it goes by Comio. There's a Discord group I belong to, where they talk about old mods, in particular for FarmSim 08 of all things, which I've never played. I've spent plenty of time on FarmSim 09 and 11, but never 08. But recently they expanded the mods, that would be offered through their site to FarmSim 11 and 13. I don't think they offer 15. So I went, and actually, there's another site, actually a couple more sites. Modding Welt, I think that's a German site. I believe they have a selection of FarmSim 11 mods. LS Planet, is that what it's called? Yeah, something like that. I think they also have a few FarmSim 11 mods. The problems with, and then there are other sites, but the problems with some of these older sites is that many of the links, a lot of times the sites themselves, if they didn't host it, they would allow, or if the modder chose, the modder would sometimes have a different link that they preferred. Well, as it would happen, a lot of those links are now dead, and so it's, sometimes you can go to these places and they'll have a picture of it, they'll have documentation for it, and then the link is broke. So, yeah, kind of frustrating finding them. I couldn't make any headway really on Mod Hoster, which is probably where I got most of my mods. So I gave Comios a try, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was interested primarily in downloading anything that looked like a disc or a really, really big cultivator that I figured, well, this cultivator's so big, we're going to repurpose you into a plow. And it's not that hard to turn a plow, or a cultivator into a plow. The trouble I've run into is some of the parts don't work. For example, in a cultivator, the Lua code has some things in it that allow for rotating parts. Some of the Giants cultivators, for example, had a roller on the back of them, a little metal roller, whatever, to beat some clods up, as the tines pass through. Well, that's something that generally rolls, as the cultivator is pulled forward. And so the Giant simulated this in the cultivator Lua code, where it'll turn certain objects like this. Well, the plow doesn't have anything like that, so when you take a disc and you try to turn it into a plow, one of the things that happens right away is it'll plow all right. It does, just fine, but none of the discs turn. Like you would see in real life as it's being pulled through the soil. All those discs, will turn as you pull it. Well, once you convert them to a plow in game, they no longer turn. And I've looked at the plows Lua code in Giants, and there's nothing in there to force it to turn. So a part of me is wondering, depending on what I explore with this, is it may not be too difficult to add just a couple snippets of code to the plow specialization and get it to spin a few parts. So I'm kind of cogitating on the ad. It shouldn't take too much, I wouldn't think. You basically, and this would be all set up in these are already cultivators, right? So they already have all the pieces identified in the XML file, which is where the Lua code looks. And of course the XML points to the i3D file of the model. Oh yeah, I finished her up. So, given that it's already there, you would need something, in your load sequence to grab the parts, and then you would need something later whenever the cultivator is lowered, the plow is lowered and you're moving, some mechanism to turn them. So, yeah, it may be in the Lua update function. That could be arranged. So yeah, I think just a couple places to tweak the code is all I need to worry about. I have so much grass in here to pick up. I probably need to do most of that off cam too. This, so far it's picking it up decent, and I gotta say, it takes a long time to fill this particular trailer, so yeah, it's, but we want happy cows, right? So, what do you do? There, not bad. Turned the corner and picked all that up. So, alright, this time here, when I get to the end of the row, I will take a pause from collecting grass. Maybe do a bunch of it off cam. Oh, yes, I think it was in a previous episode where I discovered you can't, even though you can in real life, the game won't let you put grass inside the corn silage. Hey, there's actually some grass over here on the other side of the road. The other side. Udder for cows. Alright, I'll get them going on this stretch, and then we are going shopping, because we have $500,000 burning a hole in our pocket. Alright, so I think it's 5. Yeah, back at the store. So let me just show in here. Like I say, I was pleasantly surprised seeing the options. I don't think I even downloaded them all from Comio's site. At first, I have the Pro Farm add-on. I guess that's a paid DLC. So it had, I don't know if I'll see it in here. Yeah, this is all Pro Farm stuff. But I thought they had a ripper. Maybe it's further down the list. See, here's a little disc. And this one here I tinkered with. And yeah, when I turned it into a plow, it did the work of a plow. But these discs, they just refuse to turn. So I assume that's probably going to be similar for any disc in here that has, things that should move, and they just don't. So, oh yeah, you look at the prices. Some of these are very unrealistic. You'd never get that for 1,000, or this even 630. But this one now has tines, so I think I left this as a cultivator. This one I left as a plow. This one is still a cultivator. So it'll properly turn. You already had those in here. Here's another disc. I haven't messed with it. These here I'll come back to, and I recognize some of these names. This was a modding team at FS UK back in the day. I think at least one of them has passed away now. But yeah, I was really stoked to find this, because these, as it turned out, have some extra things in them that we'll see in a moment. Yeah, there's another disc. Left it as a cultivator. Downloaded a baler or two while I was at it. I think this does little bales, maybe. So I'm kind of curious to open that up at some point. See what all's in it. Okay, this Yip stuff I had for Feldy map. Have it in here too. Get through it. That's a combine I want to try again. Oh yeah, here's the Pro Farm Great Plains. I think it's a. I don't think it's a plow. I believe it's a. Matter of fact, that may be a disc on the front of this. I think it's a cultivator for all intents and purposes. Here's another disc. I think I tinkered with that one. It's a big one, actually. I think this one has a couple wings. So maybe at some point, if I figure out some scripting to get it to look normal, this might be one I would try just to cover a bunch of acres. Oh, and I'm really curious to give this a try too. The Krone Big M. I know it's been through several iterations of farming sim, but it was a lot of work, you know, digging all these fields and cutting them first and windrowing. This here, I think, would do it all in one action, so it would cut down a little bit. Kind of curious to see how that works. Something else I discovered, see, I'm going to be picking up all of the windrows with that wagon, unless, you see, I took the baler out in the field and it refused to pick up the freshly cut grass. So I'm thinking maybe I'll tweak another modded baler so that it will pick it up, because I'm going to come behind it and try to wrap the bales, see if I can turn them into silage bales. And what will be really cool, I may need to do some app modifications, but if I can put those silage bales into the food trigger for the cattle, you know, maybe it will register as silage in the system. I'll need to work on that a little bit, but I think that'd be kind of a fun project to try. This looks like, yeah, they call it a disc harrow, pretty big one. Here now we're getting into, yeah, there's a bale wrapper. Like I say, I went mod shopping and downloaded several things. Here's another cultivator, another wrapper, another baler, and I think this may be the final one. Oops, one more disc. I don't know that. Oh no, there was a couple more down here too. A pipe roller. I almost wonder if this goes behind this particular. Yeah, I think these two work in concert. Looks like they were even designed for Farm Sim 09. But anyway, I downloaded a whole bunch, but really the only ones I think I'm interested in giving a little bit of a try are, and I got plenty of money. You know what? I'm gonna buy every single one of these, all three of them. So let me just get that, get that, and we can come in and sell it. But there's some really cool features in these that I wanted to show, and here they are. So let me just go pick one up. Now, I guess one criticism I'd have is like this here, it is sitting pretty low to the ground and the tines are in the parking lot. Okay, that looks a little strange, and the others aren't much better, but you know what? I don't know how to make these kind of mods, so who am I to criticize? Let me pick this up, and take it, actually, no, turn, I can make it. Here we go. Turn it here. Turn off field detection. I'm just going to do a little. Here's the thing. Watch me lower it here. Notice how it just sits on the ground. This is exactly what it would do in real life if you tried to lower it, into just regular soil. What I have found you need to do is, and here is drive forward. Look how it goes into the dirt. That is so cool. And that's exactly what you would do in real life, where the way I was taught is you always want to be in motion, forward of course, never backwards, forward motion as you lower the cultivator, or this here we've got the plow texture. And I've sometimes wondered if I'd like to make a mod that if someone did this, backed up with the tines in the ground, that it would disable the entire unit. Because in real life, the problem you can have is a lot of times you'll snap the tines off. They are designed for forward motion, and they're really, really strong. I mean, they'll even pull up boulders in the field, sometimes amazing sized things. But when you back up, they are also amazingly weak, and you don't dare back up, with them in the ground. They're just not designed for that, and you can break them. And I've wondered sometimes, how it would be if I made a mod to do that. Now, I think want a larger one here, so I'm gonna just sell, I believe it was this. That should disappear off my tractor. Yes, it did. So I'm gonna go pick up another one here, and I probably should have left this particular one as a cultivator, because it also has a really cool feature that I just love seeing. I didn't even know. I remember, I think, coming across these mods, back when FSUK existed, and unfortunately it doesn't anymore. But this also has the same thing in it, so if you just come here and drop it on the ground, oops, that's the weight, it'll sit there, and as long as you take still, you start giving it forward motion. And like I say, this one here also is plow texture, but there's also something else going on here that's just really cool. And here, I'll get it going so you can see it. Well, there it is. See the flexing of the tines? Isn't that awesome? That's exactly what it would do in real life. Oh, of course, I used to op. Yeah, it keeps going a little bit. It must take a little momentum to kind of get going. So, I thought that was just a really cool feature. So, but anyway, like I say, I should have left it as a cultivator, because if you have a spring tooth cultivator out there, it's going to flex. That's kind of what these big springs are here for, where it'll give and take with the ground. So if it's too hard, it'll go back. I just thought this was a really cool feature that this mod team put on it. But for the moment, I don't need it, so to reduce a little bit of clutter, I think I'll sell it. And that, of course, is going to leave one more. So I'll go pick up the final, which is just a little bit bigger. And at least these, by the way, they're pointed the right direction, so I can pick them up. I'm kind of curious, what will it do? See, if you... Well, let me get out of the parking lot. Yes, let's get out of the parking lot. What I'm kind of curious is, now if you lower it, I keep lowering my weight. Okay, right now it's sitting, so what happens if I let go of it? Ah, that's interesting. So here it is in its lowered state, just sitting there. But doesn't that look more, well, actually, if it really wanted to look more normal, I see a wheel on here, and I suppose that'll track with the ground, but I don't know much about the Baumford in real life. Whether when you park it and detach, does it rest, now you can't see it, does it rest on the wheels or does it rest on the tines? Given that it's a full-on 3-point attach in the back, I'm assuming it would just sit on the tines. But it is just curious, when it was over in the store, the tines were buried, and yeah, interesting. So, what I'm gonna do is, since we're here, I'll just get started. I don't think I'm on, not on field detection, so I'll lower that sucker, and here we're gonna see a little problem. And what you see is, as we go over this, I need to turn on field detection. I'll maybe do the outer round, then come back and clean up these other little bits. You notice it, there's the bell. In real life, of course, we would never see it this way. The tines, it's going to look normal here. It's pretty close to normal now. But as you see, it doesn't, there isn't angled furrows in Farm Sim 11. I kind of think that didn't come until Farm Sim 13. I could be mistaken on that. If somebody knows different, let me know in the comments. Yeah, I'm going to need to come back through here without field detection on. See, these spots, you may recall, were from a mod I made to force plowing. Well, right now, I'm using a plow feature, but it isn't really performing the plow function because it isn't creating new fields. So in order to take out all of these bits, these spots, I need to come through here again with it set to, create new fields, which I'll do at some point. But the bell isn't rung. Boy, the lighting in here changed. It's 7:30 in the morning too. Thank you so much for watching. We're experimenting here a little bit, with this new cultivator. Yeah, see, it's ripping some of this out, but not all of it. So I'm going to need to come back through, and there is a lot of work, that's going to need to be done. Yeah, see, I lifted. Did that come all the way out? I'm not sure it did. Come on, get out of the ground. I almost wonder if it is registering distance as it. Interesting. Hold on a second. Oh, now it's up. There we go. Maybe I didn't have it all the way up. Suffice it to say, I turned these cultivators into some plows, and there's a lot of plowing to do. At least the good news is, with this mod that I created, to put those bits in the field, I do know that when it activates every midnight, and when it sees plowed fields, it'll leave them alone. We've already proven that. But there's a ton of work to do here, lots of fields to go through, so I'm of course going to be doing a lot of it off cam, I think, but we'll see. Thank you for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Goodbye for now.